How are we looking, Val?
That's perfect, just like always.
Oh, unbelievable. Okay. Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Twitch? Thanks for tuning in live to this week's episode of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier. I'm your host, Trent Dozier. Also, if you're not live and listening to this on a podcast in the future, or maybe watching the video replay on Twitch or YouTube or wherever you found it, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. Happy to have you here. If you're here live, throw some what's ups in the chat or something, something cool. Someone who I do know who is here live with me for every episode of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier. It is my technical producer. You might have heard me talking to her a little bit ago when I was dancing. Everybody in the chat, please say what's up to Val Agnew. What's up, Val?
What's up, Trent? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was worried. I just got a haircut today, actually, and I was worried that, when I dance to open the show, a big part of my dancing is usually my hair, and I was worried that wouldn't translate, but I think it actually did.
It definitely did. It looks great, by the way.
Thank you. I went to Purpose LA in downtown Burbank. If you're looking for a good haircut in the greater LA area, check out Purpose LA. This is not facetious in any way. I take my hair very seriously. They're great. I love it down there. Give them business if you're here. If you're not here, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry about it. If you are in Chicago, though, go to Wrath & Co. Barbers. All right, moving on. Moving on from our weekly segment, Hair Talk. Now we get into the improv. Actually, before we get into the improv, we got to talk a little bit about the Trident Network, baby. This is, of course, I Love Improv with Trent Dozier, a podcast and a live stream, a part of the Trident Network. For more information on all things Trident Network, you can go to thetridentnetwork.com. Trident Network is, of course, a three-pronged digital media entertainment empire, I'll say. We got podcasts, which this is one of. We got live shows on twitch.tv/the Trident Network, which you are watching right now. There's also pre-recorded stuff that comes out on the Trident Network YouTube, which you can check out. Go to YouTube, type in the Trident Network. You'll find it. A lot of great stuff always. Web series, Dix finished last month. The first Trident web series finished. And is there a rap party coming up, or we just had the rap party?
We just had it on Tuesday, so you can watch the recording of it.
There you go. Boom. Boomtown. And not only can you watch the recording of the rap party, but you can go back on the Trident Network's YouTube and check out Dix. It's fun.
It's really fun. They put a lot of work into that.
Also, if you would like to become a subscriber for the Trident Network Twitch, throw us a sub, as they say. Is that correct? Did I use the lingo correct?
Oh, you're so in the know.
You can hit the button down here
Other
somewhere
side.
in this.
There, right around there.
Yeah, slap that button, give us a subscribe. Also, if you are an Amazon Prime member, if you have an account with Amazon Prime, you can actually get a subscription to the Trident Network's Twitch for free. Is that correct, Val?
That is correct.
Wow, crushing it. I'm doing a great job.
As always.
Okay, I think that's it. Anything you want to mention, Val, or are we good to get into it?
No, let's get into it.
Okay, baby, we're gonna get into it. My guest this week, doing and chatting about improv with me, is someone who I have known for quite some time, someone who I am very excited to get to play with, because, oh man, I can't even think of the last time we played together. Now that it's coming up, I guess I should have thought about that before we went live. Please, if you're here live in the chat, show some love to this week's guest, Karin Plow. Hey, Karin.
Hey, Trent. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you up in the high mountains of Colorado?
I am doing well and very well oxygenated. That. I'm very that.
Oh, this is going to be a wild one. Can already tell. Our pre-show conversation was off the rails. Karin already forgets how to speak English. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be good.
Okay. Karin, as you know, because I told you already, we're going to do some improv. But first, as we do every episode here on I Love Improv with Trent Dozier, I'm going to tell you, Karin, what I love about you as an improviser. But before I do that, Karin and I will need a suggestion for the improv that we are about to do after this brief conversation. If you know Karin and I and already have an idea of a suggestion you would like to give, please do so. If you don't know one or both of us, this brief conversation we're about to have might help inform the suggestion that you would like to give. And as always, I would like to remind everybody, suggestions, we love them. Thank you very much for giving them. We don't want something simple like coffee mug. We want something complex and setting up the scene, such as Karin is a artisanal coffee maker and Trent is her apprentice, and they both are half bug. You know, something like that. Something better than that, probably. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you in the chat, or possibly Val. We'll see. But Karin, I gotta tell you what I love about you as an improviser. Are you prepared to sit there quietly and receive compliments?
I'm gonna take it all in. I've taken a deep breath, and I'm just gonna let it flow.
Of that rich Colorado air, baby. Karin, I absolutely adore playing with you, getting to mess around with you. As you can already see, we've gone off the rails and we haven't even started yet. And I just feel like you exude fun and silliness. And like, not only do you exude fun and silliness, but you kind of exude the attitude of wanting to have fun and wanting to be silly. And like, you know, you're a great improviser and you can do a serious scene. But push comes to shove, I think I like you so much because we are the same in that we both, we just want to go out there and have fun and, you know, probably wrestle with each other, maybe slap each other, cut each other's throats, you know, do some wild goofing off. And I think it's also great that you love to do all that stuff because I think you're great at it. I think you are great at being a goofball and like, I think you are great at wacky, zany characters. And as we were talking about in the pre-show, you and I with Val, not only are you goofy, but you can also be very dark. And I think you walk that tightrope. It's such a fine line, and I think you walk it very well. And it's like you are someone who, when I'm playing with, you constantly surprise me on stage, and I love that. And you make me laugh, and I love that. And you're also a great physical performer, which I think comes with the silliness and wanting to have fun. And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have a clowning background? Is that correct?
I do. I do.
So that lends itself to physicality, of course. So with all that being said, what do you think? You agree with any of that? Do you think I'm off base?
I think that I've matured enough in my life that I can take those compliments and just say thank you. How's that?
Good. Honestly, great. I love to hear it. I'm happy. I'm happy about that. Okay, so with all that being said, let's get to the old meat and potatoes, shall we? It's time to do some improv, huh? You and me?
Yep.
When do you think the last time we played together was?
Oh gosh.
2018, I think, is my guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been a while. While, but it feels like no time at the same time, right?
Yes. Karin, of course, her and I played together at Made Up Theater in Fremont, California, which is my favorite improv theater of all time. I don't know about you. But Karin and I both moved away around the same time, left Made Up Theater. Karin's now in Colorado. I went to Chicago and am now back in the Bay, or not in the Bay, in California. I'm in LA. Enough about me, enough about you. Let's get to these suggestions. If you have a suggestion for a scene that you haven't already thrown in the chat, please throw your suggestion in the chat now. As always, there's about a 20 or so second delay between what I'm saying and what when it gets relayed to the chat and the video. So I'll vamp a little bit, talk about that Colorado air that you've been sucking in. I will say, I thought when I said you were in the high mountains of Colorado, it's pretty funny because it's high as in tall, but also high as in smoking the ganja. You know what I mean?
Hey, all I can say is I'm clean right now. I'm clean.
Hey, good for you. Love to hear it. Respect it.
We drug test all our guests.
Yeah. Thank you, Val. Okay. Val, once you're done reading the results of Karen's drug test, do we have a suggestion?
Yeah, we have one from someone named Nee Adam Ilio.
Nice. Thank you, Nee.
And I'm going to add something that I had already locked and loaded in preparation for having to give the suggestion myself. I'm going to add something to the suggestion. So Trent and Karin are sitting by the campfire on the last day of a 5-day hike. It's about 50 degrees and they're somewhere in the Rockies. And my addition to that is one of you has a secret that you've been trying to tell the other for the entire 5 days.
Love it. Sounds good. Karin, are you ready?
I am ready.
Have fun.
Thank you, Val. Thank you, Nee. All right, we're almost done. Just got to hit that ascent in the morning. Then we'll be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good to, be off the mountain.
I know. What was your? Oh, go ahead, please.
No,
please.
you go. No,
you go.
No,
I insist.
We've been doing this the whole trip.
I insist that you speak, please.
I was just gonna say this has been really enjoyable.
Great. Yeah. I've also had a great time. I was just curious what your favorite part of the last 5 days have been.
My favorite time. There's been a lot.
Yes, there's been a ton.
There's been a lot of really good things.
It's been like mostly only good things so far.
But I think maybe, when that moment was on the 14er when I couldn't see you, and I thought, oh my gosh, we're above the tree line. There's nothing that would have caught him if he slipped. And you were nowhere. And for a minute, I just took a deep breath and took that all in. Yeah, that was powerful. And then you showed up, behind me. But yeah, that was a good part. It was good. It's good.
Wait, are you saying? Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Are you saying your favorite part was when you thought that I might have died?
No. I mean, don't interpret it that way.
Okay, please tell me how I should interpret it.
No, it was just like being alone in nature, at like a really high, there was a big goal and we made it. It was like, oh yeah, we fucking made this. And then I was like, oh, wait, there's no we. And then I just had a moment of peace, like being there by myself. But it's not about you, man. It's not about you.
Okay, so if I had died in that moment, you would have been sad. Your happiness was from a peace within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have been really concerned if you hadn't shown up when you did. It wasn't your potential death that did anything for me. It was being on the mountain. It was being on the mountain, man. Come on.
Okay, good.
All right.
I would like to believe you, so I'm going to believe you.
I think you should believe me. So what was your favorite part?
Well, after all that, I kind of don't want to say what mine was now, because it's pretty drastically different.
All right, listen. You made me go first. Like, we went through this on the trail a number of times. We spoke at the same moment.
I know.
And then it was like, no, you go, no, you go, no, you go.
You go first. Yeah.
I went, and now it's your turn. I mean, come on, man. We've been out here for 5 days. You don't trust me?
No, I do. trust you with my whole life, my whole soul. I was just gonna say that I think my favorite part of the trip was night 2 when we were in the tent and our fingers accidentally touched. It felt like, there was a bit of a rush. There was a bit of a rush there, and I don't know I don't know how you felt about that, but I'm thinking not the same as me, since you're talking about how you wish I was dead.
I did not say I wish you were
Well, that's what I'm
dead.
hearing.
I just
That's
liked having a moment alone. Okay.
I didn't mean to overbear you on this trip.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're overbearing me right now. The finger thing was awkward, but
okay.
But okay.
So it was awkward and not a moment, is what you're telling me.
Oh, wow. I feel judged right now. I feel a little judged.
I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to get clarification. I would never judge you. I would never judge you.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was a thing. It was a thing. It was something for you. It was something different for me, but that's like how people are different, Whew. All right. Yeah.
So you're saying you don't feel anything for me outside of friendship?
Wow. Well, you're just gonna ask that, huh?
Well, now I am, since we're talking about it already.
Well, all right. Look, you're you.
That's
you
not a sentence. That's not a sentence that means anything. That's not a sentence that means anything. What does that mean? Obviously, I'm me. Oh, you're you. Great. We've accomplished nothing.
Okay. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that statement and say that I am me.
Oh my God.
I am me.
That doesn't mean anything.
It does. It means that you can't control me, like
I'm not trying to control you. I'm asking if you feel emotionally open to me in a way that I am feeling emotionally open to you, especially after 5 beautiful days hiking together, going up and down the mountains, the turbulence that we've had both literally and figuratively. I just feel like our bond is stronger than it's ever been, and I would love to make us a couple. But clearly I'm gathering
my thoughts. All right. I'm gathering my thoughts. In what sense do you want to be a couple? Like, how would you define that?
In what sense do I want to be a couple? What do you mean? I would like us to date for X amount of time, and then eventually we would get married, and then who knows what the future holds. Maybe some kids, maybe no kids, maybe some dogs or cats, or nothing, just the two of us living our lives.
Oh, I'm having I think the altitude's getting to me.
No, just breathe. Practice our breathing exercises like they taught us.
I think it's just a cold weather. Yeah. I just need a minute.
Just turn away from the fire so you're not breathing in any smoke. Just focus on your breathing.
All right. Okay, listen.
I'm listening.
I've heard what you said, and I'm glad you clarified what you mean by a partner. I mean, listen, I feel a connection to you, right? But the connection is fraught with tension. There's like, it's like your heart to my heart. There's a line, but it's hot. Electrified, but
tight.
not hot.
Okay.
Not taut and not hot. Neither of those. It's this thing where, like, yeah, I know you. I know you,
Is there more to that sentence?
No, the connection is I know you, man. Like, I know you. I probably know too much about you. Like, this trip probably wasn't a good lead up to, hey, you want to date. I mean, I saw you shitting in the woods.
Yes, but I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that if we were a couple, you would see me shitting in a toilet, in theory, depending on if we say we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment to start, right? And all we had was the 1 bathroom, and there was some crossover in our mornings, and like
no,
you
listen,
needed to shower before work, but I had to go
wow.
before work. And
wow. Okay. I don't, even if I was, say, in love with someone, I don't really want to smell their shit.
I know that. I don't want to smell your shit either. I'm just saying that if we were in the hypothetical situation of my dreams where we're a couple, there's potential for you to smell my shit and vice versa. Gloria, I would smell your shit if you took a dump. I'm not intentionally. I wouldn't be like, Gloria, don't flush. I got to go smell your shit. I would,
wow.
But I'm just saying there's a possibility. I don't smell shit. I mean, I do, but I don't seek it out. I'm not.
Are you saying you wouldn't smell my shit?
No,
like my shit's not good enough to smell?
No, I think anybody. That's not what I'm saying. I
don't think those things you just said about partnership and dating and marriage. Children smell like shit. You want to have children with me? They are just a big pile of shit for the first 3 years.
Well, I don't know if I want to have kids with you or anybody. That would be a discussion that you and I would have to have.
But you just said
partners.
that. But you just said that.
No, I said hypothetically.
Yes, you did.
No, I said hypothetically. This is all hypothetical.
Okay, fine. Okay, so you like shit. That's good to know.
That's not what you're twisting.
That's what you said.
No, you're
and how could I be in love with a man who likes shit?
Everybody poops. Did you ever read that book? Whether you like shit or not, it's a part of life, Gloria. And I want you, like my shit, to be a part of my life.
So you're calling me shit?
No, if anything.
Jesus, this is the least romantic conversation I have ever had in my life. What?
That's not.
Okay.
Could you hand me a beef jerky?
Sure. I can hand you one, but I'm not going to.
Oh.
Okay. Why don't, Gloria?
We just need to get off this mountain. We got one more night here. I promise, that I won't bother you with my shit. Before.
I have never been bothered. For the record, I have never been bothered by your shit.
Okay. All right.
Why are you laughing at me like that?
I don't know. I've been with you for 5 fucking days, and I'm just tired.
Okay, you know what? I'm starting to think of 5 days of us together. If that's what this turned you into, then a life together would not be good. So I've received your answer. Thank you, Gloria. I'll go scavenge for berries.
Hey, hold up, Jed. Wait a minute. So you take that all back?
No, that's how I feel. That's how I felt. But now I'm assessing my feelings based on the feelings that you have volleyed back to me. And now I think that I look like a little bit of a fool for thinking that you could have been a partner for me. So and you won't even hand me some freaking beef jerky. So I'm going to go out there scavenging in the woods.
You know what? The problem with you is that you're hot and then you're cold. Like 1 minute you're wanting to smell my children's shit, and the next minute you're going to gather wood, Jed. I mean, how did you want me to answer when you painted this romantic picture? Remember, I know you.
Yes, and I know you, which is why I was hopeful that your answer would have been yes, let's date, let's be a couple, let's be together. I thought maybe we could have a nice sexual night up here on the mountain together. Yeah. And lead that walking down the mountain would be like walking into the rest of our lives. But clearly I was wrong.
You ruined that with the whole shit conversation. That's not an aphrodisiac.
For the record, Gloria, you brought up shit first. You talked about me shitting in the woods, so the shit talk is on you.
Yeah, but then you talked about smelling my shit in an apartment. Like, I don't understand you. Like, why can't it just be simple?
That's simple.
It's not. It's not simple at all.
What's more simple than smelling your partner's shit in the morning?
I think we need to end this.
And what? We're not a couple.
Well, and whatever this. I think I need to walk down by myself tomorrow.
I understand.
And I think that you need to leave in the morning before I do.
So you want to go second?
Why do you have to always rank things?
I'm not ranking things. I'm just.
I mean, is it ought to be in order? Like I'm second down the mountain? Fine, I'll be first down the mountain.
No, I don't care who goes first or second. I was just clarifying if I needed to wake up earlier or if I needed to wake up later. I was just trying to mentally prepare for my schedule tomorrow.
Oh, well, I'm sorry that your itinerary is not ideal.
I didn't even say if it was bad that I had to go first. I was only asking a clarifying question.
Well, I just felt judged by the whole damn thing. So you know what? Okay. Whoa. Hey. What? Do you hear that?
I hear that.
Oh my God. I think there's something behind that tree.
Are we about to kiss?
No, we are not about to kiss.
I wasn't sure because you were getting close to me.
Christ, there could be a mountain lion.
No better time for a passionate kiss than right before we get murdered by nature itself.
You shut up. Dude, what do you think it is? Stop. Don't get that close to me. Jesus.
It's cold. Can I put my arm around you?
No, you can't. Okay, fine. Just put your arm around me. It'll make us look like a bigger animal.
Oh, that's smart.
We might scare it away.
Good idea.
God, your beard is so scratchy.
Is it okay that my face is this close?
God. Okay, fine. Listen, if we die right now because something eats us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, maybe it would be better that way.
It would be better if we were both dead. You know what? I think I'm just going to try to walk down the mountain right now in the dark.
No, don't leave me up here with that thing.
Going.
Wait, no, come back.
No, I'm going.
Ah, Jesus. Fine. Go. Fine.
It's a shame you won't get to hear the song I wrote about you, but...
I'd love to hear it. I don't even think you can write a song.
Okay, well, technically, I didn't write the song.
I want to hear the song. Okay, I want to sing it. Sing it.
It's Gloria by Van Morrison. Have you heard that song?
Well, that's not original. Another issue. I thought you were leaving.
I'm leaving.
I don't see you going anywhere.
I am leaving. Which way?
You don't want to leave.
Obviously, I don't want to leave. I'm in love with you.
Well, why didn't you just say that?
I thought that was pretty clear what I was implying.
You didn't say that.
So, I'm in love with you. Does that change anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of.
What?
I mean, you didn't say that before.
So are you saying there's a chance between us?
If you're in love with me, that's more serious.
Yes. Oh no, mountain lion. Okay, that's the scene.
All right.
Oh. Oh my God. Once you introduced the mountain lion, I was like, 100% I'm gonna get eaten by this thing. That's how I know. That's how I know I want this to end. Oh my God. Well, Karin, I think that was a perfect example of what I was saying. You have a way about you that just, it makes me laugh playing with you. And man, I had a blast. I had a blast in that scene.
Me too.
Okay, good.
I miss you, Trent. That's fun. It was fun.
It was very fun to watch. It was like a dance because you're both like messing with each other in different ways, and it was very cool to see how you were reacting. And it also like felt real in the sense of like a couple having that fight where they are like intentionally not listening to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, wow, yeah, I've been in this fight.
Well, I also thought it was very, very funny and also very smart, Karin, what you were doing, which was like, you, Karin, the performer, were clearly listening to me because everything that Gloria was responding with was the exact opposite. So like the only way you could have understood me was for you to listen, but everything Gloria was saying was like the opposite of what Jed, which that made me laugh out loud, what Jed was laying out. And like that, to me, that was such a smart choice, because you were playing to the top of your intelligence by playing a character who was an idiot, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wrote down like you're so attentive, like in the middle of the scene, because even at the end, like when you were like had your arm and you were like, your beard is so scratchy, like you weren't even looking at the screen, but you were just like paying such close attention to what was going on that you just knew that he was like leaning closer to you. It was great.
Yeah.
I was like, or not, I was like, that's not a real start to a sentence. I was happy that Val and I, we've talked about this on a couple episodes before, but I always worry about how the physicality will come across visually for everybody, since we're all in different places. And even though we were sitting in the dark on a mountain, it felt good that we were both able to still be super physical, even before we were hugging each other, just like by being expressive and angry towards each other. I thought that was really fun. And like I said, you and I both like to be physical, so I was glad that was able to bleed through a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, okay, how's this gonna work with Trent and I? Because we're like the clowns that run around, like, yeah. So it's fun. It's interesting, like what Zoom can offer you, because I do think there's some fun conventions and things that are on there that you can play with, for sure.
Have you done over the pandemic? Did you do a bunch of Zoom prov?
I did not do a bunch of Zoom prov, but I've just been on. I'm a teacher. I'm on Zoom all the time, and then I did a lot of creative writing classes and things like that during, and I did some clowning on Zoom, which was really, really funny. We all had like the computer up, and then we had to run around our house with our phones, and it was pretty, and sort of, yeah, it was actually pretty funny, so yeah, but not improv. Just being a clown, that's what I did. So
yeah, Val knows this, of course, and I'm sure frequent listeners of the podcast know this, and viewers of the Twitch also know this at this point. But I am always still struggling with how it comes across, how the improv is coming across through this medium, because it's such a improv on stage has been around for however long, decades, and improv on Zoom has been around for 1 year.
Yeah, for a year
and a half, like And it's especially like, it's one thing to, you know, kind of be all in the same room and be able to improvise together and just broadcast that. But I'm still trying to figure out how the best way to do it is when we're all in different places. And but this one felt great. I felt good about it. And I thought the hug at the end, you know, sometimes it can get a couple episodes ago with Hannah McDonald was the guest, and we did a scene where we were in a car, but we were on the screen, we ended up on the wrong side of each other, and then we would look to talk to each other, but we thought we were looking the right way, but our heads would be, so it was looking like we were talking out the windows. And but just kind of presenting that physicality was a benefit to the scene at that point, I thought. And I thought any physicality that you and I had tonight, even if it wasn't like crystal clear, even if the hug wasn't perfect, people are understanding what we're trying to go for.
I do think being on Zoom does make you really hyper focus. You know, I think it's, in some ways it really enhances the listening, because you got nothing but that little window in front of you, you know, and it's like, I'm just tell me, what are we doing, Trent? Let's, you know, it's that really intense listening of like, okay, what's the next step? Because there's nothing else there's just you, baby. But there is some, you know, there's some interesting like benefits with that too, that there isn't someone else who's going to run in, and I'm not waiting for someone off stage to swoop in if the scene starts to lull. You know, it's just you and me. And so I think there's some fun in it. I mean, it's a different feel for sure. You're like, as we're going, I'm like, where's the audience? Are they laughing? What's going on? Oh yeah, there's not an audience. It's just Val, you know. So like that instant feedback isn't there either. So I think that's something, just as a performer, that's why I like to perform. And that's why I like to perform improv, you know, is that instant connection with the audience. And so I think though it does heighten the connection with who you're playing with when there's not that other member of the cast sitting out in the house, you know. So
I think I totally agree. The smaller, I think we must have talked about this on a previous episode, but I prefer, I don't know if anybody can hear that, but there's a motorcycle outside of my house. Classic. I prefer Tuprov to any other. Like, I love teams, and there are teams that I am on that I love to perform with, but Tuprov to me is the easiest medium of doing improv, because there is in my opinion, there's kind of this thought of Tuprov is harder because there's less of you, and it's just like, oh, you have so much to remember, and the whole show is reliant on just you and your partner. But for me, it's the opposite, because when you're in a big group, even when there's 3 people, but you know, once you start getting on these teams of like 5, 7, 10 people, you're worried about like, oh, someone's going to come edit the scene too early, or someone's going to edit the scene too late, or someone's going to walk on. And like, when it's just the 2 of us, we can really sit and like develop the relationship in the scene, and kind of like, you know, if something's not working, we can be like, okay, let's go to the next thing. And like, when there's only 2 people feeling that, whereas like if you're in a team and maybe you and I are doing a scene on stage and we're feeling good about it, but Val's in the wings and she's like, I think this has run its course, and then, you know, sweeps, and we're kind of like, bummer. Then Val ruins another freaking show for me.
Gosh, Val.
No. Sorry guys, it's my MO. But I can't help myself.
No, Val's great. We all love Val. But I think so. I think the combination of Tuprov plus Zoom is very conducive to a hyperactive listening environment.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and like, you know, messing with friends. I mean, that's a great Tuprov that's been for years and years and years, and just Susan messing, getting new people in, right? Yeah. But that format, that intense, it's a nice intensity, and not to have to worry about anybody else. Because I think when you're on stage with like a bigger group, you're always aware that there's other people that you're sharing space and being that collaborative person. But when there's just another person, it's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
You only worry about each other,
Yeah. I'm in Burbank, but I would consider this technically like a Chicago-based podcast. And because of that, we have talked about the Herald a lot because, IO loomed large even in its absence currently. And the Herald, of course, was what was taught there. And, when there's 10 people on your team, it's so like even it's one thing to be on stage and be like, oh no, someone's going to come edit this when I don't want them to. It's a whole nother thing to be like 3 scenes deep into the show and you're on the sideline and you're like, oh man, I haven't been in the show yet. And I gotta there's when it's just the two of you, you're on stage the whole time. You don't have to worry about like getting enough stage time or ruining your teammate's scene or enhancing your teammate's scene. Like there's no worry about, what 10 different people are thinking. It's all concerns with just you and me, you and your scene partner. And I just think that's so much, for me at least, like that's just so much easier. Even in short form, you have big clumps of people and it's just like, I don't know that you could, well, that's not true. I was going to say, I don't know if you could successfully do a 2-person short form show, but that's not true. I have successfully myself done a 2-person short form show.
I think you've done that at Made Up Theater.
Yes,
for
exactly.
Like corporate events and stuff.
I know specifically me and Sean Taylor, the one I think about all the time is me and Sean did a 2-person show for probably like 30 people in the back room of a Maggiano's Little Italy. And
Nice.
it was for someone's birthday or something, but it was great. And it was short form. And short form has the added benefit of using the audience, more. But even in a 2-prov long form set, the third member of your team is the audience. In a 10-person show, the 11th member of your team is the audience. So it's all
yeah I agree. I mean, and something, I think when I'm in a bigger group and I've become part of a bigger improv group up here, there's probably 12 of us, so it's really different than 5-play. And when you find the people where their rhythm and their energy is similar and matches with yours, it's like this nirvana, right? And sometimes you lean towards those people to play with because that energy is similar and the timing. And I find that when I'm a slow burner, it takes a while. So, Trent, sometimes there's a long pause on stage.
I love a long pause.
What is she doing?
I love a long pause.
But to not, the different energies can disrupt each other, if it's not sort of a synergy thing. And so I think, that too seems like you find the right person, it's kind of magical.
Yeah, I wonder if you would feel the same as I would about, so like I said, you and I both not maybe necessarily started at Made Up Theater, but we're predominantly at Made Up Theater by the end of our time in Northern California. And of course the main team there was 5-play, and there were 6 of us on the team, and the other 4 people who were not you and me were the owners of the theater. And I felt super lucky to be added to that team because I felt that nirvana amongst the 6 of us. And actually, Bobby was our guest on the last episode, and we talked a little bit about this, where we've just played together so many times and we just have this familiarity and trust, and we're all comfortable with each other. And like when I moved to Chicago, it took me years and years to find that. But the first team that I found that with was with Ten Impeller, which was my 2-prov team with Cam, who was also a previous guest of the show. And that was just the 2 of us. And I think it's because it's so much easier to find that working relationship between 2 people than having to be like, okay, well, I didn't ask to be put on this Herald team. I was picked out of these 10. There's 10 of us, and none of us wanted to be on a team together necessarily. And now we all have to navigate all these personalities. So like, I feel so lucky that 5-play was kind of my first team because, or not kind of, 5-play was my first team. Because I hit a home run with them.
Yeah.
And with you. And I just feel lucky that I didn't have to, because then once I went to Chicago, I was like, oh man, this is a a nightmare being placed on teams and like trying to find, and you know, of course, eventually I had fun with every team I've ever played with, but and eventually I would say Fair Dinkum is the team in Chicago that gave me that feeling the most, finally, of a full team. But like I said, Tuprov was where I was like, oh, this feels like home. This feels like made up theater. This is what I was used to.
Yeah, definitely. And I think something unique about made up theater was that we were, you know, there's the owners, they already had this great chemistry together, and then they pulled people who would fit into that chemistry. So we just lucked out.
We did, yeah.
Literally
the right place at the right time.
Yeah, right place, the right time. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. I mean, I think that you have better odds of having a good two-person scene or set with a stranger than you do of having a good set with a 10-person team who you've played with before.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. I think I would also agree.
Yeah, me too.
Like
especially go ahead, Val.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I got really lucky. The first team that I was ever placed on was the Stacks, who I still play with
Still today. On the Stacks, yes. Baby.
And we're like 6 years old now. So we've been playing together at least. So we've been playing together for a long time. And we get along really well and, like, all fill different roles and stuff on the team. It's great. But even we, you know, it's hard to have that many people, especially when we've gone through phases where we had like 10 people on our team, and it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, even under the best of circumstances. But like on my birthday a couple weeks ago, I did a short form show with a bunch of pals, and I had never improvised before with Felicia McLeod, and she and I had a 2-person scene that was more or less just it was blind line. So it was more scenic than your average short form game. And it was like the easiest thing that I have ever done. Like, we'd never improvised together before. And it was just great. And of course, part of that is just because Felicia's a great improviser and a wonderful human being. But like,
and Val is a great improviser and a wonderful human being.
No, I'm an asshole. I haven't learned a thing in the 8 years that I've been doing this. But like, I really do think that a factor of that was just because we knew no one's coming on stage. No one's gonna, like, we don't have to worry about anything else. We just have to worry about doing a good scene between the two of us. And we are responsible for that. No one else is responsible for that. Because that's the other thing too. You can get lazy if you've got teammates who are like crazy and will just come in and break a scene every single time. You don't have to do a good scene, because within a minute someone's gonna be on stage, you know, being a crazy person, and you're done. And like, that sucks too, right? Because like, you're not working your muscles the way that you probably should. So yeah, I think that I agree that 2-prov is like easy, but not in the sense of like you can be lazy. It's easy because it's clear.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting for the audience too, because there's not so much to follow. Like, you are following each person's line of thinking and able to really go on the journey without it being disrupted. Like, I would think in this scene, like I think Val said, like, I've been there before, right? Like, so there's that more, not that other things aren't relatable, but I think there's more realism that can happen in 2-prov sometimes that is not necessarily always the focus in improv, you know. And it's still comical, right? But there's more of a grounded sense when you really have the two people that I like personally, taste wise.
It's very interesting that you say that, because I've never really thought about this, but Fair Dinkum, our best sets are very like ethereal and like out of this world kind of stuff, and not, I mean, obviously there's grounded stuff that happens within it, but like, it's all kind of out there. And kind of with 5-play too, I feel like it's not ungrounded, but it's very like more focused on like our physicality and our play and our fun, as opposed to like, you know, we're grounded in this reality. You know, we're grounded in it because we all believe in whatever we're doing, but it's not necessarily true to life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, you know, Yeah, if we could climb out a window and climb out the ladder and jump off the ceiling, then that's kind of the focus. But I think, yeah, I do think there's, which I enjoy, but I definitely, coming from an acting background, enjoy sort of the cleverness of that 2-person grounded place, and it's fun to watch where it goes.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned this earlier, Karin, about even if I'm watching a 2-person show, I just got to focus on the 2 people. And, I am someone who gets distracted very easily. And even with, a team of 6 or whatever, if only 2 people are on stage, there's 4 other people in the wings who I could be focusing on. There's also an audience around me. I get distracted easily. So in a 10-person show, if the scene happening is not, grabbing my interest, I might be like, what's Val doing on the sideline? Val on the sideline is more interesting than what Trent and Karin are doing on stage right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also a lot of accountability as a performer. If there's just 2 of you, you can't, like Val said, no one's going to save you. So you're invested I think way more in what is happening here, because And as an audience member, I don't know how forgiving I would be if it's just 2 people. I'd be like, yeah, that's bullshit right there, right? And I think maybe that's what takes you to a more real place, right? Because if you want to bring them along, there's got to be some truth in what if you start jumping around like a jester, that's going to last for about 30 seconds, right? And then everyone's like, we are done with that person. Yeah. So there's something interesting in that as well, I think.
I also wanted to tie this back to what you were talking about before about not having an audience in the Zoom medium. I think that one thing that I've realized, because I've been starting to go back to doing in-person shows while still doing online shows, is I don't need a reaction from the audience as much, which has been really liberating in a lot of ways. But also I realized that what I was doing was trying to make my teammates laugh.
Yeah.
And you 2 were doing exactly that during this set. You were trying, in the absence of an audience, you were trying to make each other laugh. And I think that is a really fun, kind of, outcome of all of this is finding that, finding joy in trying to tickle your scene partner rather than worrying about what the audience is doing. Because you don't know what the audience is going to like or not like, or how they're going to react. And I don't know how it was at Made Up Theater, but oftentimes we're performing to just other improvisers. So who often, out of some sense of having to look cool, withhold their laughter more often than not. So you're not guaranteed to get a laugh, even if you do have a live audience. But if you know your scene partner and you can make them enjoy the scene, even if they're not literally breaking, I think that is so fun, and that is something you can always do, no matter what medium you're in. And I think that's a really cool thing that I've discovered, from all of this.
Yeah, that's funny, because I definitely was feeling oh yeah, I got you, Trent. Okay, here we go.
I can't remember what it was now, but there was something within the first 30 seconds that got me, and I was like, oh yeah, here we go, we're in it, baby. And then the thing that got me the hardest was Jed.
It took me a really long time to name you. You called me Gloria a couple times. I'm like, I fucking need to name him.
You know what's funny? I think you can obviously have a good scene if it's just 2 people and you are never named. But I always like to give a name, because it feels like it's more memorable when you're like, those 2 people had a really good scene, or it's more memorable to be like, oh, remember the Gloria and Jed scene? That was great. And I was timing the scene, and I looked down, and it was we were 8 or 10 minutes in, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta name Karin something. I gotta just throw something out there.
Well, it's funny, when you called me Gloria, I was like, oh yeah, you're going to call me Gloria? Okay, Jed.
Jed's a funny name.
I know, it's good. It's good.
Jed's funny. Well, we're approaching the top of the hour here for those of us who are live on Twitch. If you're listening to a podcast, Time doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But for us right now, as we're recording this live, we are reaching the top of the hour. So now that Val kind of tied this up perfectly like a herald, we can wrap it up. Karin, this was great. Thank you so much for being the guest on this week's episode of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier. Where are you doing improv? You're doing it in Colorado.
I am.
What's the theater? Tell me.
I am in a little tiny town.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, so yeah, there's a EPiC Improv. We're in Evergreen, Colorado. Woo, woo. And yeah, that's been my focus right now, is doing shows with them. I'm teaching locally. I started building an adult improv program that I've kind of passed on to some other folks right now. But yeah. So just still living the dream, people. Living the dream.
Baby. If you're ever in the greater Denver area, check out EPiC Improv in Evergreen, Colorado. Correct?
Yes.
Nailed it. Karin, this was great. Thank you so much. Val, this was a blast also with you, as always. Love talking to you. Anything the people should know about the Trident Network other than what we talked about at the top of the show?
Well, we are taking next week pretty much off, with the exception, I think, of Trent's other podcast.
Baby. It's actually a perfect tournament for next week.
Trent and Mia do not rest ever.
There will be a rest eventually. Don't worry.
But otherwise, we've got tons of, as we said at the top of the show, we have tons of other shows here on Twitch. We have tons of other podcasts, if that's the way you're listening to this. And we have lots of fun video stuff on our YouTube channel. So check us out. And if you enjoyed this and you want to support what we're doing, you can subscribe here on Twitch. Or if you are listening in podcast form, you can become a Patreon patron, and Trent will even shout you out if you so desire, if you become a Patreon patron. So you'll be immortalized forever in one of these episodes. And you can also get merch. And there's I Love Improv merch. There's Tournament Podcast merch, which is Trent's other podcast, and tons of other fun stuff.
There's D-Commentaries merch, which is Val's podcast, which I was literally listening to before we started recording.
Yeah, if you like obscure TV movies from the 90s and 2000s, we're right up your alley. Give us a listen.
Well, if you understand what a DCOM is, then you're going to absolutely love Val's podcast. And if you don't understand what a DCOM is, listen to Val's podcast and you might get educated.
That's true.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much, Val. Karin, this was a freaking blast. Loved being able to play with you. Loved being able to chat with you for an hour here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks everybody in the chat who joined us live, and thanks everybody in the future who's gonna intake this in whatever medium you find best for intaking improv. That's it. We will be back here in 2 weeks with a new episode of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier, with a fresh guest and some fresh prov and some old Trent and some old Val, a couple of old classics. That's it. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving week and weekend next week. I hope you are all stuffed, filled with turkey and whatever your favorite side dishes. Maybe tune into the tournament podcast next week and find out what your favorite side dish is. It's a little hint. Okay, that's it. I'm rambling. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Val. Thanks, Karin. Thanks, you guys. Had a great time. And remember, I love improv.